And some died for their homeland. They fought and some died. Now it's our land. Look at his little child. There's no fear in her eyes. Could he not show respect?
Veterans Day is a time for us to honor the many men and women who have fought and are fighting for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans.
For the boys and the girls who went over, in peace may they rest. May we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. God, and some died for their homeland. They fought.
Veterans Day to me is a day to honor the men and women who demonstrate nationalism every day by fighting for the betterment of their country. Someone who risked their lives every day for my freedoms and the freedoms of those yet to come.
Show respect for other dads who have died. Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest. May we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. God, and some died for their homeland. They fought and some died.
Veterans Day to me is a time to really stop and think about how real the sacrifices made by many men and women, some of whom are not that much older than I am as a senior in high school, make to make the world a safer place for me and others like me.
Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over.
Welcome students, faculty, and guests to this morning's Veterans Day Assembly. Veterans Day is a time for us to honor the many men and women who have fought and are fighting for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans. We currently have 1.38 million active military men and women and another 500,000 in reserves, many only a few years older than us. In the past century, millions of soldiers have defended our values all over the world, from Vietnam to the shores of Burgundy. Pinewood is proud to have many of these veterans amongst our faculty. Colonel Moran, Major Cannell, Specialist Forrest Stern, Nurse Fenwick, thank you. I hope everyone enjoys the ceremonies today. At this time, I would like to direct your attention to Mr. Brown, who will read a letter from the artist, K.E. Crane, who created this sculpture in front of me.
Thank you, Brielle. Welcome, everyone. This letter was sent in 1997 by the artist who created this sculpture that is right down here. For those of you in the back, you can maybe see it. If you can't see it right now, get a look at it perhaps when we're done. It's from K.E. Crane. In 1997, I was interested in developing a sculpture to honor World War II veterans. I started by researching the timeline of the war and the battles fought. As I delved into it more and more, only the facts were coming out, none of the emotional toil that was afflicted on the many people and nations involved. I needed more of an emotional connection than I was getting from history books. So I went to the source. I sought out a World War II veteran and friend, Tom Heaton. Tom has no problem sharing the stories of the battles he fought, but I had to encourage him to talk about his worries and fears as he set off to war. I wanted to hear how the war affected him as a person. I wanted to creep into his skin and feel what he felt. In 1997, the vets still found it hard to tell about their experiences, never sharing them even with their loved ones. As Tom opened up to me, I could not help but wonder if his wife, who was on the other side of the wall in the kitchen, had heard any of this before. I had the feelings she may have not, for it was very emotional for Tom to share his thoughts with me. He spoke of being 19 years old and shipped off to France, his whole life put on hold. It was something that many of our young men did without question, without second thought. During the hours we spent together, Tom helped me understand the sacrifices they all made. He told me about their rifles and how they had to keep them dry and ready and could not lay them down. They were the only thing between them and the enemy. He told me how important letters from home were and how they transported soldiers to a different place. Though they could not keep the letters, they were a true source of comfort and encouragement, and they were cherished by the recipients. Though the letters from home are all now lost, the letters the families received are still kept by family members as cherished memories of sacrifices made. This is a highly emotional piece depicting a World War II foot soldier with a letter. This letter from home has taken him away from the reality he sits in and transported him to another place and time where there is love and joy and hope. His shoulders are at ease as he reads news from home of another place and time, yet his rifle remains at attention. At this point, we're going to have a short AV piece that was created by a 15-year-old high school student.
Looking at the events that changed our lives, immortalized in the artwork that decorates the walls of our Freedom Hall, it's easy to take for granted just how real the sacrifices depicted on these walls are. Countless men and women, many of whom were not much older than you or I, have given up their lives defending the freedoms we cherish, receiving nothing in return. These men and women, fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, sons, and daughters, have left behind their lives to make ours better, without even getting, much less expecting, a thank you. To me, this is what Veterans Day is all about: acknowledging, appreciating, and applauding the soldiers in our military who each and every day put themselves in danger to make the world a safer place for all of us. So, without any further ado, please stand and join me in introducing our own veteran here at Pinewood Prep, Colonel Lee Morand.
Thank you. These are our fallen South Carolinians. Private Algernon Adams, Aiken. Private First Class Michael Adams, Spartanburg. Airman First Class Carl Anderson, Georgetown. Specialist Katrina Bell Johnson, Orangeburg. Sergeant George Buggs, Barnwell. Captain Joshua Byers, Mountville. Private First Class Thomas Kaufman, Lexington. Staff Sergeant J. Gallardo, Columbia. Chief Warrant Officer Jason Dufresne, Barnwell. Corporal Matthew Dillon, Aiken. Sergeant Andrew Derrick, Columbia. Sergeant Sean Duncan, Columbia. Specialist Ryan Ferguson, Taylors. Second Lieutenant Almar Fitzgerald, Lexington. Lance Corporal Travis Fox, Cowpens. Sergeant Donald Furman, Burton. Second Lieutenant Clifford Gadsden, Red Top. Lance Corporal Jonathan Gadsden, Charleston. Private First Class Satyan Greenlee, Pendleton. Staff Sergeant Patrick Griffin, Elgin. Captain Kimberly Hampton, Easley. Specialist Seth Hildreth, Myrtle Beach. Private First Class Melissa Hobart, Ladson. Private Nolan Hutchings, Bowling Springs. Specialist Darius Jennings, Cordova. Sergeant Anthony Jones, Greenville. Chief Warrant Officer Patrick Leach, Rock Hill. Staff Sergeant Jerome Lemon, North Charleston. Sergeant Adrian Lewis, Malden. Lance Corporal David Lindsay, Spartanburg. Private First Class Vorn Mack, Orangeburg. Specialist Jason Mosky, Wagner. Sergeant Paul Neff, Fort Mill. Specialist Anthony Owens, Dillon. Staff Sergeant Esau Patterson, Ridgeland. Sergeant John Phillips, St. Stephen. Private First Class Joey Sams, Spartanburg. First Lieutenant Andrew Shields, Campobello. Sergeant Orenthal Smith, Allendale. Sergeant Major Michael Stack, Lake City. Sergeant Anthony Thompson, Orangeburg. Specialist Douglas Tinsley, Chester. Lance Corporal Joshua Torrance, Lexington. Staff Sergeant Terry Wagner, Piedmont. Specialist Zandra Walker, Greenville. Corporal David Wymorts, Irmo. Private Anthony White, Columbia. Private First Class Dustin Yancey, Goose Creek. Private First Class Rodrika Yeomans, Allendale. May the Lord bless them and keep them. May the Lord lift up his countenance and make his face shine upon them. Thank you. I'll be followed by Eris Hanchard.
First, I want to thank everyone for paying their respects during the assembly. But at this time, I'd like to give you what my definition of a war veteran is. A war veteran is someone who's dedicated their time on behalf of their country during war, someone who demonstrates nationalism by volunteering themselves for the betterment of their country. Now, if you're 18 years or older or going to be 18 in the next year, please stand up. If there were to be a draft reinstated, any of us could be enlisted at any time. It kind of makes you think about the troops that go out that are not much older than you or I, about the people who give their lives every day for freedoms that we can have for now and for our kids to come. It makes you think about what kind of war veteran you could be if you were to be enlisted. So when we pay our respects to veterans on Veterans Day, think about how you would want someone to respect you if you were a war veteran and if you had fallen for your country. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Michael Aldinger from the Ecology Club.
In memory of our veterans, the Ecology Club has planted a live oak in the Butterfly Garden. The leaves of the live oak remain all year, even through winter, just as our freedom has remained through America's winters, thanks to our veterans. I hope you will take a moment of your time to visit the tree and honor our fallen veterans. Thank you.
Students, faculty, staff, at this time I would like to thank everyone for attending this morning's assembly. I would like for you to go out, even though this Sunday is Veterans Day, I would like for you to take the weekend and actually take time and reflect, say a prayer if you wish, for those fighting at the present time and also for their loved ones that have passed. At this time I'd like to dismiss the seniors, but what I would like is I'd like for the Ecology Club to stay and also our students on stage as well. If we could have our seniors dismiss first quietly out the back.
They fought and some died, now it's our land. Look at his little child, there's no fear in her eyes. Could he not show respect for other dads who have died? Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. God forgive me for wanting to strike him. Give me strength so as not to be like him. My heart pounds in my breast, fingers pressed to my lips. My throat wants to bawl out, my tongue barely resists. But 2 minutes I will bide. It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time.